All right, this is a good one on Friday night. Part of the Fox Friday night television package they've got going on. Michigan State and Oregon on Friday night. Oregon 24-point home favorites, 52.5. The total, probably Timmy Brando on the call because he's been doing all these Friday night games so far for Fox. Oregon didn't cover last week against UCLA. That tells you all you need to know about where this team's power rated right now. You're not getting bargains to take Oregon right now. So we'll see how this one goes. Look, obviously, the flip of the coin here, or the other side of the equation, is Michigan State in their first real true step up in class, taking on a heavyweight, taking on a power, taking on an elite in college football game last week against Ohio State, and they got drilled 38-7 at home by Ohio State. So it's not like they offered a boatload of confidence to the bettors out there that they can hang here with Oregon on the road in Eugene based on that performance. Will Howard was very solid throwing the ball again. The run game for Ohio State, 188 rushing yards on the ground. What killed Michigan State, though, was, Aiden Childs wasn't efficient enough. He had the one interception and 2 lost fumbles for Michigan State.
Yeah, those were huge
as well.
When they were down there to score, that was tough.
They hung around early, and then those turnovers just absolutely zapped their momentum in that game. But again, there's a value problem right now with Oregon. Okay, they're only 1-3 against the spread this season, even though they've won every game. Idaho, they never sniffed a cover. Boise State, the 3-point win on this field, they never sniffed a point spread cover. They were laying 18. They escaped with the straight-up win barely, 37-34. The only game they covered was at Oregon State, 49-14. Then, of course, against UCLA last week, 34-13. Not enough to get the money, though. Laying 23.5, 24. So I'm leaning Sparty. Jonathan Smith knows this team inside and out. Remember, Oregon State, he's faced them every year. Civil War. If you look at some of those Oregon State games when Jonathan Smith coached Oregon State, they were competitive. You look at the schedule here for Oregon. You've got Ohio State, the big showdown coming up after this game. Now, it's a bye week, and then you play Ohio State. I should point that. No, actually, that's not true. There's no bye week. It is next week, the 12th. So that's the game looming large. Ohio State coming to town next week. It's set up situationally for Michigan State to stay inside a number like this, an Oregon team that's only 1-3 against the spread and is having trouble in these bigger point spread ranges. But can they avoid the turnovers? Because you turn it over against Oregon, you're going to be in trouble. They've got to clean that up, stop with the fumbles. Aiden Childs, don't make bad decisions. And if they can do that, and the defense battles, even when they gave up the 38 points to Ohio State last week, the defense is battling. They put up a battle in that game. It's just they got worn down because the offense just couldn't carry their weight enough. And obviously that's a concern when you're going up against Dylan Gabriel and company here on the road. But there's a value issue with Oregon. You're not getting much value right now with them. And with Ohio State coming to town next week after this game, you won't find me laying 24 with Oregon here in this spot. C-Mac, what do you think? Michigan State, Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon looked good. Early. That's one of the things that just classic 28-3. Actually, it's 28-10. UCLA, that touchdown was a pick 6 too, right? Pretty sure. That was.
Yes, it was. It was an interception. By Gabriel, return for a tutty. Yep.
Yes, that was his thing. But UCLA,
the point spread. Without that, Oregon probably does cover.
Yeah, and just ho-hum, just kind of no scoring there in the third, and they got a touchdown in the fourth.
That's another thing. Dan Lanning didn't step on the gas pedal. He was just, let's get this done. Yeah.
So I was kind of watching that like, they did against Oregon State kind of take it to them there in the second half, which was a close first half. I think they were up by 7 or 8 in that game. And Garbers, they got the few picks off him. Classic garbage, as you talk about. He wasn't very good. Yeah, we'll get to him later. 12 or 20
times at Cal, his brother.
2 picks. Yes, man, that's a tough look. The brothers there for them. And Michigan State, you were hitting on it. Not that they were great, but they had moved it. Child's just been a problem. The fumbles were the big one in that game. Score, especially early, to keep it kind of close. But he was hounded all game long. I think they had 4 or 5 sacks on him. He did throw a pick. He's only got 5 touchdowns to 8 picks.
That's not good
during the year. It's not good. And he's a tough watch. But this is a little bit. Look at Oregon's got Ohio State. That's the big one. Their next game. So this seems like an Oregon team I'm not going to lay points with either. Like if you looked at them, maybe their team total, and they missed their team total, didn't they, man? Oregon.
They did. They fell short. I know because I had a ticket on it and didn't cash it.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, they just needed one more touchdown. Yeah, the classic. Yeah, he pulled the reins. The play calling got really dumbed down watching that in the second half. So if they could keep it humming with Gabriel, I think they could put up points. So maybe look to their team total. But yeah, I think Michigan State can hang around. I'm interested in their points. It's just tough to back a quarterback that I just dislike so much, that turns the ball over.
Yeah, good point, Bama boy. Sonny Dykes talking about TCU. Yeah, I've never had a defense anywhere he's been. That's true. And 80 penalty yards, too, for TCU per game. They're not very well coached. And I know that's a coach that brought him to a national championship game a couple of years ago. But that looks like smoke and mirrors now. It does. That defense even that year wasn't that great. They forced a lot of turnovers. They rode the backs of these great skill position players that TCU had that year. Max Duggan had a magic season at quarterback for them. And they rode the wave of that, and now because they haven't been anywhere as good since then. So yeah, issues there with TCU. But yeah, I'm leaning Michigan State. I'm leaning under. Oregon doesn't play fast anymore. That's something you really have to point out under Dan Lanning. They do not go pedal to the metal pace-wise anymore like they did so many years ago under Chip Kelly. And they run it a lot.
Michigan State's been money to the under too.
Yeah,
so far.
That's kind of what I'm thinking here. And plus, Oregon did not put the hammer down on UCLA. And if they didn't do that last week, punch in an extra score late and push for more points, why would they do it here when they've got Ohio State coming up next week? They'd be probably even more cautious in that regard.